meeting. City of Las Vegas Neighborhood Partners Fund Board, City Hall, 495 South Main Street, 5th floor, large conference room. City of Las Vegas, internet address, www.lasvegasnevada.gov. Agenda for June 20th, 2016, 2 p.m. Items listed on the agenda may be taken out of order presented. Two or more agenda items for consideration may be combined. And any item on the agenda may be removed or related discussion may be delayed at any time. Backup material for this agenda may be obtained from Luann D. Holmes, City Clerk, at the City Clerk's desk office at 495 South Main Street, 2nd floor, or on the city's webpage at www.lasvegasnevada.gov. Number one, call to order.
You call the meeting to order.
Okay, meeting's called to order. Number two, announcements regarding compliance with open meeting law.
Yes, we are in compliance.
Okay.
Want to do roll call? Yes. Yeah, Chair Holmes,
Present.
Vice Chair Borisovich,
Here.
and then members Toussaint.
Here.
Member Capone. Here. Member Pelusa.
Here.
Member Stilbrecht. Here. Member Norello.
Here.
Member Kirk.
Present.
Member Christensen. Here. Member Mitchell. Excused. Member Powell. Live and in effect. Member Kramer. Here. And Member Schultz. Excused. Thank you.
Number three, public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, give your name for the record. The amount of discussion, as well as the amount of any time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited.
Madam Chair, just note for the record, there's no public comment.
I'm sorry?
Just note for the record, no public
For
comment.
the record.
Oh, no public comment. Okay. Number four, review of the evaluation scores on the Neighborhood Partners Fund Board Grant Program applications.
So I've been asked to, I had it already on your Excel sheet, which is the sheet, the samples, which the Zoom grant does not allow us to have all this information on the screen. I'll ask them to see if that could be modified for next year. In the meantime, I was asked to bring this up, but I just want you to know that some of the folks score this particular one, Summer Trail, which was one of the ones that did not qualify or, we took out. So they're not even part of the program, but they have 100 on the score.
Maria, if you click at the top of the column of the scores, it'll put the highest
It'll
one
put
at the
it
top.
up, yeah, it'll put it up top, which will make it 100.
But the 83 to 56 is the highest for SUPAC. And you can go down from there.
Right.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I just wanted to point out that that was not correct before we moved on. But then,
4290.
this is how the programs have been rated with the highest, remember this doesn't count, the 100 doesn't count. The next one, Stupak, then we got the Rancho Park Apartments, the West Huntridge, the El Camino, the Rulon Earl, Scotch 80s, Crossroads, Five Points, Crestwood, Whistler Creek, Damiana, Smoke Ranch, Crossroads, Mariposa, Glen Heather, Neighborhood, what's the other one, Charleston Village, Desert Shores, Huntridge, Cultural Corridor, Four Winds, Durango's Estates, Canyon Mist, Aventura, then Tuscany, La Mancha, and then Lone Mountain, the other one that was
Excuse me, Maria, is the total amount down there over? It's over by, or are we under? No, we're over by $7,000 there on the screen.
That's not bad.
Okay, so. Alrighty then, let's move on.
Alma, are you able to print that out from our computers in the back and see? So, to see if.
Could do a
that way you can
PDF.
look at it.
PDF print, I'll print the whole page.
Look at it.
You can look at it, I mean, either way, then if we're gonna use this, then we don't need, this.
I think we-
However you wanna do it.
Excuse me, Member Borisovich, I think that it would be helpful if you could do a PDF print of the screen, and we had a copy of this, as well as this other document. So, yeah, so I think that would be helpful.
I apologize for not being prepared, I thought I got the other one, but now that I know that you wanna look at this.
You did excellent. You did a good job. You did a good job.
So did we want to start with anything, or while we work on this, or how do you want to do it?
Member Norrell, we can't see this information when we go into our own Zoom grants, is that correct?
Yeah,
You
see
can't
Oh,
see,
we
but
can?
you can see what everybody else scored?
You see what the,
Total score.
what the.
Yeah,
Can you show us how to get to this page,
Mhm.
Maria?
Yeah, you can.
So that we can go
Do
back?
you have it right now?
No, I just want to see how you get to this, how you got
I
here.
got there's a
Everybody?
tab called scoring. You scroll
Yep, and I got there, and it only shows me, it doesn't show me anything that looks like this.
Right.
That's why I wanted to ask her to show me.
Yeah, that's what my scoring was. That's what I got my voting decisions.
You go to this screen.
That's scoring?
No, this is just to your applications.
Okay, okay,
So you name all applications, then you go to the scoring,
okay,
and this is what comes up.
okay. That's not how mine looks like.
Right, Maria, that previous page didn't look like that. We don't get to see how
Yeah.
many people voted.
You only get to see your own
Correct,
decisions,
yeah,
right?
that's what I'm looking at now. It's just what I.
Yeah.
So you don't see this
Uh-uh.
this report?
Not in that detail.
You're
I see
special.
that, but that's my own score.
Maybe those little check marks work out or something.
No, because I'm looking right here on, whoops, on a wooden, and you click on scoring, it does not work.
Well, let me ask you, is that an issue? I mean, that you didn't get to see it? Can we work off this? I
Yeah,
don't
we
know
can.
exactly how I may assist you right now. I mean, I'm gonna try to get you the printout, and like I said, I apologize that I didn't have this.
Just shows mine.
I thought you might have, when you did
It's
the
okay.
scoring and the whole thing. You know, a lot of times, we haven't even discussed the previous scoring, and what we've done is just start working on, you know, the actual printout with the, so maybe if I get you some numbers, now as she printed out, then maybe you can look at what is here and then decide on the amount. But typically, what I try to do, because if you look at this, I think it's really cumbersome. There's so much that I didn't think you would enjoy looking at all of these things. So, and I couldn't get them to, what? Yes, yes.
Vicki Skilbred, I think that if you were to just put on this spreadsheet, because I do think that's a lot of information, if you were to put 2 pieces of information on this spreadsheet, it's a bigger printout, it's easier to read than this little printout. The numbers are so small and whatnot. If you just added the cumulative score and the cumulative award, understanding it's a trial award, it's
Well-
not binding.
Member Borisovich, the average recommended, if we could add that, the average and the total score.
Yeah.
Those 2 items would be, or committee score, would be very helpful to us. Not that one, over 2. Committee score, that one.
That one.
Which
Is
are,
that what you're saying?
yeah.
I'm confused. So is this, if we didn't put in our scoring by today, we're not gonna be able to, right?
I don't, you know, do you need to? You don't, those are given to you so you can have like a way to see what everybody's doing, what they're feeling before we come to the meeting. Because, you know, I think with the way they came up with this program, and I don't know exactly, is that through those numbers, you as a board member, even if you did make it to a meeting, you would be able to gauge how the board was voting, if that was important. So what's
Maybe I
gonna
should
happen-
rephrase my question. Are we making a decision on who gets
Today,
today?
yes.
Right, so it doesn't matter that I didn't go in there,
Right.
because the decision will happen today.
Right, it will happen.
Okay,
whether
got it.
you put it-
So I will stop asking questions on how to score.
I think the only
all I
advantage
needed to
of
be
this
told.
report is it shows us all how we felt about these individual
Right.
programs, and they're in a certain order.
Mhm.
So the ones at the top obviously are more our favorite ones, the ones at the bottom are less favorite.
Right,
So I think that's important. The individual scores I don't think matter much.
right.
Member Borisevich, we don't have access to this page, Maria, so I would recommend that maybe we could ask the programmers to let us see this page somehow. I don't know what permissions would need to be granted, but that might be very helpful. Because when I was scoring, I mean, not that it would really change my scores, but still it would just be interesting to see the information.
Well, I can ask, I don't know, how they do it, if they allow that. Like typically, many of these things are developed so that there is, it's clean, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how this will influence or not. I mean, I don't know why they made it that way, but
Mhm.
I will ask them.
Thank you.
So how do you want to continue to, how do we do the next step? I mean, is the way I have it right now, these are done by scoring. I just have these by alpha, the name. And so as I do the alpha on the screen, I'll be able to move them around. I'll be able to, because it's an Excel sheet, I can do it by highest number on top and whatever. I can do all of that. But right now, I have it by alpha. Do you want to, how would you like to do it?
Maybe highest percentage, highest, like, what everybody voted for.
The score.
The way it is now, so this is a little different. So if you go with this,
But that'll
then
be all right. Remember
if
how?
this is going to be the way we do it, then my sheet will have to transfer you.
On.
What did you, how did you find, because now they're alphabetical. Yeah, because they want it now by high scoring.
I can look for it. I can just look for it.
No, but I mean,
Okay.
I think that's,
Do you want it by score?
How else would
Oh, look, can you put that in the
How else would
landscape?
you
Put that in the
rate
landscape.
a
So
zero?
here, if you could.
Okay.
if you could,
Be good.
My eyes can't see it. Team Louise.
Where are you? She can make that bigger by control.
Mhm.
I'm fine with that. I can see that, so.
Mhm.
That's because you're closer.
Closer.
And you have better
I
eyes.
can't see it close. but I
Eyes are
see it.
doing pretty good so far.
Also put these blanks down that way.
Madam.
Okay. Okay. I would like to call the meeting into recess. Anyone opposed?
I second that.
Thank you. Okay, meeting's in recess.
Okay, I have a suggestion, if you don't mind, is that when we get the thing back, it's by score, and we start at the top, which is going to be Stupak, and go down that way, and have our discussion about the scores, and then, because we're over, it looks still by $7,000, that we, as we go through, we can either up or higher or raise or lower.
You may want to say this, have the discussion when you go back on the record.
Oh.
Okay, sorry.
Well, you're the one that made her go into recess.
Well, because their staff is gone.
I
We have
know.
no staff. And so,
We're good.
yeah. But,
How
talk
about
about
this
115
heat?
outside.
Oh, my God.
This is always the hardest part.
Yeah.
We'll
Especially
be-
this year's the hardest thing.
Yeah, this looks
Yeah.
like it'll be a hard one.
Yeah.
I love it.
So after you
And the Cleveland cap. You know what he did? He came in and he came up right in front of my desk.
Then you're
and
going
he
to
went,
have the percentage list.
Yeah.
And
Like, are
everybody
you a
has
happy
it.
dude?
And he goes, I think you can go to the next agenda item. which is
John
the
Bear's a huge
deliberations.
Cleveland Cavaliers fan, and they won last night.
So if
Once you start talking about
And a thick Cleveland Cavaliers shirt. He was so happy. He was so happy.
So when I come back from recess,
Yeah, call meeting back in recess.
In your
She'll
binder,
hand out now.
do you
She'll
have
hand
the
out
stuff
both
in the order of our
alpha,
presentations
she'll
or
hand
in
out
alphabetical
the
order?
percentage.
Oh,
I have it in the order they presented.
so did I.
Have that as
So,
well.
because I would
On
like
the
to
same
go
page.
through this way, but
And then, I think if we're gonna start talking about.
I don't know.
I think we should just probably concentrate on the top.
Yeah.
since our
You
It's
have
not
to
worth
open
talking
up.
about the ones that didn't even get.
six also, or just five?
Yeah.
How
And
many
then once
people
you-
didn't
that's all
score, didn't
finished,
put their
then
points
we
in?
go to
I'm just
recess.
curious.
Okay.
Well, it was a little confusing this year.
Yeah.
Because
I couldn't get
that review
there.
button, well, no, it's not there. There's, once you look at the individual, you have to go to the individual thing, and then there's a button that says,
Like on your
yeah, click on any guy.
Yeah, I'm good, how are you?
Oh, it's over there in the application.
2 years in a row.
So when you go into a specific one. It'll pop up.
And I wanted to bring truffles, but they would have melted in the car.
Yeah.
That's
Once you're
not
in there, you
obvious.
have some notes, and then you can rate it right here.
Were there
Well,
instructions in here in an email?
Well,
Because I like reread a couple emails to see if I missed
it's a little
it.
different than, and I don't think
This is the
that,
first time they had the button.
yeah. So, and, yeah, so there's. it
I
would
knew
be-
there was the
I think
criteria, and I
maybe-
couldn't find where I put the criteria points in, so I
Does
just
Mar-
created my own.
Does Maria have like a group of people that help her with this? Maybe a board member might be able to help her in the future and come up with some ideas?
I'm gonna stay out of that conversation.
Oh. Oh, is that not a good thing?
No, I don't know. I think you should suggest that.
I think it would be helpful.
It would be helpful.
Yeah. I think that, yeah, the instruction, I'm going to make that recommendation only because.
Do it. No, it's good.
Who do you work with?
I work for Councilman Coffee.
Okay. I'm just a person.
Exactly. That's why it would be better coming from you.
I see, okay. When we come back into order, I'm going to make two suggestions. Number one, I think that we need to have a board member or two help Maria a month before this is done, so we can talk
I
about the
didn't
different
either.
reports
So
and
that's
what would be
good.
helpful to us.
I mean, I've
And I think she
accepted the
should
ones I
work with
wanted
us
to
on that,
accept.
so we should do that. And the
And
other
then I
thing is
saw
I'm
that I
going to
had money left
recommend,
over, and I
unless
said,
you're
"Well,
going to do
enough
it,
wiggle
that we
room
go
for me
by
to
the
pick
score.
Other ones that I
The
would
percentage.
Yeah, so
Just
it's
log
by
in.
the percentage on the highest.
Yeah.
the lowest.
Yeah.
The dashboard, so hit scoring,
Uh-huh.
and there you are.
See, for us, it doesn't, we don't
I'm no
have
good for
that.
anybody else.
I know you're not, but still, when you go over to,
But those are your points, right?
How did you get to
Not
that?
everybody else's.
Yeah.
Those are
that's
mine.
just yours.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, we
So
want,
it still doesn't show
we want
you.
Oh, I
the
see
whole
what you're saying.
thing.
I
It
see what
doesn't
you're
show
saying.
you committee score.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, she has votes, and she has.
And I couldn't figure out how to enter the scores in this. I knew how to approve and decide or decline and put the amount,
Right. Yeah.
but I couldn't get into the little Q1, Q2.
Yeah, we need to have a couple, a board member or two maybe help Maria out with this.
I see what you mean, okay.
Does it show you the
See,
committee?
you're not special.
No, I'm not.
More
Never have
special than us, me.
been. Never have been.
Oh, come on.
Yes, you are.
You are special.
Donna and I love you.
Good enough.
Okay, what's the cookies of the day?
There's raisin and chocolate chip.
Oh,
They are the raisin I love.
peanut butter is the only way.
You're fading, girly.
I know I'm going to do it tomorrow.
Okay. What color are you going to do it?
Blue and purple again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you? Oh, I didn't find that thing online. I wanted to send you with the black hair, and then she moved her hair. And it was a rainbow of colors. Beautiful. Oh my! I was like in awe. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. So maybe we make a recommendation. Maybe we don't need staff or anybody to help her. Oh, thank you. It is.
Anybody missing any? These are extra.
This one we don't want
Call
this.
the meeting back in recess, make sure she's good to go. She has,
So what do I do say? I'd like to call the meeting back to order.
yes, and she has to be ready, because she notates the time.
I should have brought my highlighter.
Wish you could just uncheck not qualified, and then they wouldn't have come out.
Anybody got $7,000 on them? Solve this problem right now.
Huh?
We could ask a couple of different communities to help out.
Okay. I would like to call the meeting back to order. Number 5, discussion for possible action. Number 4. Number 5, discussion for possible action and recommendation of funding for fiscal year 2016-2017 Neighborhood Partners Fund Board projects. Number 6. Oh, do you-
Madam Chair, I make a recommendation that we just start working on the handout that was just given to us, starting with the highest score and going down and make adjustments as we can to make up the $7,000. Oh, Member Borisevich, sorry.
So noted. And number 6, discussion for possible.
Madam Chair, this is the time that we are going to make the award recommendations to
Okay.
City Council, where the deliberations will take place on all the applications.
Okay. All right. We're going to start with the highest one, being Stupak Neighborhood Success Team. The average recommendation was $4,390.91. Would we like to make that higher?
Member Borisevich,
That one's not qualified.
Member Borisevich, the Stupak neighborhood, that's a very, very vital program for some of the inner city kids. And I recommended that we do $5,000, the full amount, so that they get every bit of help that they can to keep those kids up off the street. So instead of the $4,000, I rated $5,000, and that was my reasoning.
Okay. Anyone else have another amount?
I would take the 5,000 as well.
Okay. Then we will change that to
Well, it's only
5,000.
two of us.
Anyone else?
Brian Knudsen, Ward 1 for the record. So maybe it would be helpful just to explain just very briefly like how we went through and identified scores or funding criteria. So much like the vice chair, I chose that 5,000 for the same reason. For other applications, I chose something different. So the Rulon one is the one that I think is interesting to talk about because I felt that one separated people, whereas this one brings people together. And so I would vote for 5,000 as well. But I think maybe when we're describing the scores, maybe we can kind of link in why we chose this particular score or dollar amount, so we're just familiar with the group.
Okay. Anyone have any comments
Bless you.
on 5,000? Anyone want to decrease it?
Is this what you're talking about? How we rated it, or?
No, individual.
Why
Okay.
we did what we did.
All right.
Madam Chair, maybe we should ask each person why they scored what they did. I don't know if it's necessary, but it would be helpful that way. Everybody has a voice, or we could just vote.
Well, I think in the essence of time, if a couple of people would like to volunteer the amount and why they chose that, then that would
Okay.
be great, instead of having everyone speak.
Okay.
Yes.
Vicki Skilbert, I did go with the minimum that they had requested, the 4,500, although I think it's a fabulous program, and I wish we had all the money to fund everything 100%. I did have a little bit of a concern that we have been funding it year after year after year after year. I become concerned that we've become an annual funding mechanism, and since we've already seen this grant increased in the past, it could potentially happen again. I don't want them to be too dependent. Plus, there are a lot of really great programs on here, so I felt like since they said they could still do everything at the 4,500 mark, that's what I put down. That being said, I do think it's a fabulous program, and I could easily be persuaded to fully fund it, which I believe is what we did last year. We fully funded it and took money from other projects.
Member Borisovich, these are young people, and they have grown from last year to this year. They've added more kids. And being over by the Stupak Center, which is not, an ideal neighborhood where the kids can go off to parks and whatever, I think that the $5,000, the full amount, would help them with keeping these kids on track and giving them a positive outlook on life so they don't feel repressed.
And I don't mean to cut anybody off, but I just have one suggestion as to how we do this. I think you remember from last year, Madam Chair, we did go around, a few people commented on theirs, and then we would take a vote on the individual application at whatever amount, and then we would move on. And we weren't worried about balancing it at that time. We just made the motion to get an amount for each application, then we figured out how much we were over or under, and then we adjusted.
Okay.
So I think that technique's worked well in the past.
Okay. Go ahead, Lance.
Lance Kirk, Ward 3. They did score high for me, pretty high, but my logic was kind of taking their minimum and working from that a little bit, because I think there were so many valid applications. So I actually had them at like 4,200.
Okay.
Member Sally Christensen. I think between their minimum and their maximum, it's only a $500 difference. And I think that there are plenty of other applicants that could use the money in addition to these guys. And I remember when they presented, they said that they would just shave a few things off. So I don't think $500 here or there would kill them. It would give us $500 to do some results.
I would accept that. I don't think that's a big deal.
Okay.
So what do we like to do?
4,500. Is that okay with the group? Okay, 4,500.
Take 5 minutes on that, we got 24 to go.
Okay, the next one is Rancho Park Apartments. The average recommended was $3,990.91. Open for discussion.
I wish we had a minimum. Oh, here it is.
Member Borisovich, I went with 3,800, only because I figured that they could still get the computers in there to help the students print their homework, and only because I know where Rancho Park is, and they do need some help over there, and they were actually requested by the police department to step in and help them. My only concern is that, and this is what I asked them, what they were going to do about security, and I'm afraid, the computers might get stolen.
What's the recommendation again?
3,800.
3,800.
Anyone else have a different number that they would like to present?
Yeah, I have a comment on that. I'm sorry, I was just figuring through for my notes. I'm actually going to recommend the full amount for that group, just because I think they've got statistics to show that they've actually created great synergy and partnership with Metro, and they're doing great work with the students. So they have numbers, and I'm not so much concerned about the novels, other type of things. They have a wonderful relationship. I think I would like to recommend the base minimum, obviously.
Brian Kingston.
The 4,600?
Yeah.
Brian Kingston, Ward 1, I would agree that I thought they showed their engagement with Metro and with the church who's coming in to support their association. I thought it was really valuable to have so many different groups. It wasn't just one group, it was multiple organizations that were supporting it, and thought it was valuable to that community. I recommended the full amount as well.
Okay, so 4,600, the full amount, and you have 3,300?
No, I have 38.
3,800. Any numbers in between that? So should we go with 3,800 or 4,600? It's up to the group. How many think 4,600, the full amount?
How about 4,000?
Is the difference, sorry, Member Norero, is the difference just one less computer, or, because I know they broke it down, that each computer costs a certain amount. I don't remember writing it down, but I think they said they could either do 3 with the minimum or 4 with the maximum, if I remember correctly.
Member Sally Christensen. I think they have a valid organization. I think they do need the stuff, but I'm like, I'd almost be willing to get one of my computers. It's like, I think that I'd go with a little bit lesser amount, what'd you say?
38.
38. I'd go with that and still give other people opportunities. And, I mean, I have so many computers at my house, I'd be like willing to like,
Actually, Member Borisevich, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry, Sally. There was some information that was provided to them that the school district will actually give them computers. So reducing the amount actually would not really hurt them if they get the computers from the school district, which I think that they're working on. So if that's the case, then, because their main request was for computers, but if they're going to get them free, then what are they going to do with the money that we give them?
Okay, we have 3,800, we have 4,600. How about 4,000? Shall we start with 4,000? Okay, 4,000.
I'll agree with 4,000.
Okay. Next is West Huntridge Neighborhood Association. The requested amount was 3,700. Our average recommendation was 2,640. Open for discussion.
I would recommend that we fund them at 3,700, only because this is one group where it affects everybody. It affects the whole city. When people migrate to that park, it is literally in the middle of the city, and without anything there, it really creates a problem. I just know that park has been a real issue from the time when I was young, and that was a long time ago. And to know that they're doing something positive with that area, especially the Circle Park, as we call it, is really good. It's bringing something positive.
Okay. So there's a recommendation for 3,700.
Right, you'd say Ward 1, I would agree that the whole image of that park and neighborhood has transformed over the last several years. And I don't know if it's directly related to movies, but the association has said something to transform the image of that park. I would recommend the full one as well.
Okay.
Vicki Skilbert, I had recommended 2,000 for it because they have already full funding for 2 of their movies, and instead of the usual 6, they had reduced it down to 4. So they've already, functionality-wise, they've actually cut their program by a third, and they've already started part of it. So I just was recommending the 2,000.
Member Borisevich, I also recommended 2,000. And the reason was the same, because they've reduced the number of movies, and because actually they said they didn't get as many sponsors, and I don't know why, but maybe they could get some additional funds if they need it. But I recommended 2,000.
Okay. Any other amounts? So we have 3,700 and we have 2,000. Can we?
I'd look at 3,000, the minimum.
3,000?
I'd second that.
I'll go for 3,000.
3,000?
3,000.
Okay, we'll make that one 3,000.
We're in a giving mood at the top of this list, huh?
Okay, El Camino
Supposed
Community
to be that way.
Going away.
No.
There's a little
Next
less
item,
money.
El Camino Community Association. The requested amount was 5,000, and average recommendation was $2,230. Open for discussion.
Member Borisevich, I went with 2,500. First of all, they already have trees. They could get smaller trees, and I'm not sure that it's a critical project for the neighborhood. I mean, people are already planting in those planters, and the trees are really, I don't even know what it's going to provide them in shade-wise and how that's going to help vegetables. So I recommended 2,500.
Okay. Any other amounts?
I'd just like to remind us all that we need to find $7,000 here, and we're not finding any. And I've gone through the ones that I thought absolutely had to be funded, in my opinion, 100%.
Oh.
We need to start cutting.
Oh, wait.
Below the minimum that they asked for, but otherwise we're not, this is a waste of time.
Oh,
We're going to go through this whole process again.
I'm sorry, Member Borisevich, I recommended 1,500. I was looking at the wrong sheet.
Vicki Skilbert, I recommended 1,000 because they already have so much of their boxes, which are being planted by other people. They're only talking about the trees. They can put in fewer trees right now, and I have a serious concern because this is leased land. So I'm hoping they'll just plant along the edges to start with. That way, if they're forced to move again, there isn't a lot of money lost.
Sharice Holmes, I recommended 1,800.
Recommended 1,000.
Sorry, Lance Kirk, Ward 3. Mine was, they were one of my higher scoring, but it was 2,000.
2,000? Okay, so it seems like we want to go, okay, go ahead.
I go for 15, like a compromise.
15? Okay. Would we like to do 1,500 for this project?
I think this is a project, Member Nuero, I think this is a project we could maybe give them a little less and not completely stop the project from completely going forward. So this might be a good one to consider cutting a good amount of money from so that we can
It's
use it.
$1,000 less than the minimum they requested.
Okay.
1,500, but $1,000, Member Borisovich, I feel that $1,000 would still allow them to get a good number of trees and get some work done out there instead of,
Was it 1,000 or 1,500?
well, I recommend 1,000 now.
Okay. Would we like to go lower with $1,000? Or would we like to keep it at 1,500? All in favor of 1,500?
Madam Chair, well, just get a consensus at this time, so we can move forward. Then later on, we'll be doing an
Okay.
overall motion for all the
Okay,
recommended funding to the.
Okay.
okay. So we're recommending 1,500, 1,800, 1,000, what are we recommending?
Madam Chair, Vicki Skipper, why don't we go ahead and put the 1,500 and we'll put an asterisk by this application, and when we're short, we can maybe come back and look at this as a
Okay.
possible area to adjust from.
Vicki, you're a genius.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Good idea.
so 1,500, I can live with that, even though that was my initial recommendation.
Next item.
Smoothly executed.
How did you pull that off?
Next item, Rulon Earl Mobile Home Park. They are asking for $5,000. Average recommendation was $3,144.44. Open for discussion.
I didn't vote on this one for a couple of reasons. This is member reason. So one is because it's a housing authority project. I think the housing authority has more of a responsibility to provide for air conditioning than any particular grant would. The second reason is all of the other applications are related to bringing people together and building community. This grant isolates people, it keeps people in their homes. And it's, from an efficiency standpoint, it's more efficient to air condition one room and bring people into that one room, as opposed to buying a whole bunch of air conditioners and keeping them isolated in their own apartments. So I didn't vote on it or support it because I just didn't understand the relationship between the housing authority and their ability to do that. And two, I think it's counter to what the grant is for.
Okay.
Member Borisovich, I actually recommended 4,500 because I'm in reading and listening to what they were saying is there's a great number of seniors, and in order to live in this mobile home park, they had to be on food stamps. So, and the housing authority provides for air conditioning, but what they're asking for are individual air conditioning units, which are more efficient than cooling the entire mobile home. And if there's seniors, they can't really get out of their home, and so what they're trying to do is help them stay healthy so, you know, they don't have some sort of emergency issue, put it that way.
Hi, Maria Castillo Couch, City of Las Vegas. I did want to add that this facility, even though it's a housing authority facility, it's just a piece of land. And so the seniors actually own their little modules. They own it. And the ones that are there are very, very elderly. Many of them are like 89, 90, et cetera. And so what happens is they live on a very limited income. So those seniors would barely get out of their facility. In other words, they're pretty much in those modules. So what I understand from the from the gentleman that we helped put together the application was that they thought had a smaller unit, instead of cooling the whole modular, that they could use a little unit to just cool them while they were in watching TV or listening, whatever they do in one contained area. So that was the reason of the request for this one.
Member Guerrero, I agree that it feels terrible not helping a senior who's having, health issues, dealing with the heat. But at the same time, I kind of agree with Brian, is that it doesn't really accomplish the goal of this grant. Maybe if we were a board of the Southern Nevada Health District or the Southern Nevada Senior Committee, then I would agree with putting money towards this. But I agree with Brian that it's going to keep people in their homes and not, working with each other and creating a sense of community. And I'm pretty familiar with this group. And one of the concerns I have is who's responsible for paying maybe a higher energy bill with these AC units going in, because I'm sure there's going to be a cost related to them. And that wasn't really answered during the presentation. That made me feel a little uncomfortable.
Member Borisevich, in listening to him, I'm not familiar with these seniors at all, but in listening to the presentation, what I got out of it was that the community has come together with a group of younger people that are going to help the seniors. If you're 90 years old, you're not going to be out and about your house a whole lot. Well, maybe I won't, but anyway, I just think that it's the younger community helping the elderly in this area. Just my 2 cents.
Member Kirk, I seem to recall that they were swamp coolers, right, that are mobile and they roll around.
Mhm.
So those would be fairly energy inefficient compared to an air conditioning. So they would save the money, it should. Because I think I remember him saying that as well. So I kind of scored them right in the middle. I think I had them at 2,000 myself.
I kind of brought a personal understanding from Georgia. My mother-in-law has been doing this. Instead of heating her house in Georgia in the snow, as cold as it's gotten, because she couldn't afford the heating bill, she was using a room heater. And this is the same thing. It is an actual AC unit. You can actually get similar to those heating units. And in Las Vegas, Nevada, it's just as important to keep the temperature down, especially in a mobile home, as it is to keep the heat up when you're in Georgia in the snow. I do like the fact that some of the other members are going to be going in and giving some help, and it does create some community to some people who are otherwise can be so housebound that they kind of get left on their own.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't, but I'm not entirely comfortable with the fact that once the units are purchased and given, they will belong to the person who owns the mobile home. So I kind of split the baby kind of, and I went with, but I did go with 2,000. I felt that could give them some units and they could address the highest need.
Do we want to start with 2,000, and maybe if we have extra money, we can put towards it? Okay. Do we want to start with that?
I think 2,000, well,
Or 2,400?
I like that.
2,400?
Member Kilconen? Yes. I had many of the same concerns that were expressed as well as about just the overall safety of the units. I think as much as I care about seniors, it's kind of duplicating an existing feature that they already have in their home. So I guess I would recommend probably 2,000.
2,000?
Does anybody else? Sorry.
My thought, as I thought about it, I'm like, where's the fairness issue? Because I'm like, who gets these? The oldest people in the place get it, so I had some concerns there, because I'm like, what if there's fighting, like, you get the unit, I don't get the unit. I mean, I like the fact that the youth are gonna go and clean up the yards. That was the part of the whole thing that I liked the best. But,
Number 2, son. Oh, sorry.
no.
I have a question about the effectiveness. I'm not familiar with these little swamp cooler devices. very familiar with swamp coolers growing up in Las Vegas. The principle is that you blow the air out, and rather than recirculating the air in the house, but once you change the house from being dry to being humid, you don't cool anymore. So I'm not sure how that works, and maybe somebody has experience with that. But if you don't blow the air out, the moist air out, your house will be humid and it won't work. You know that, right?
These are not swamp coolers.
Oh,
Those
I
are
said they were.
actual, no, I think he was saying they were actual AC units. And I know that when my AC went down last summer, my sister actually was staying with me, got 2 units, and I was actually pretty amazed that even in my big family room with a vaulted ceiling, it brought the temperature down to 73, 74 degrees.
Maybe it's my mistake. I heard swamp coolers from somebody. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah, remember Kirk, he did say that in his write-up, he calls them an AC unit that adds moisture, and AC units do not add moisture, they remove moisture from the air, so. I recall him saying swamp cooler type, because he said it adds a lot of moisture to it, but I'm not 100% sure either. One thing I can tell you though, my experience, my AC went down and my homeowner's insurance bought me one of those portable units, gave me a little bit of money to go buy. Didn't work very well at all. When it was 105 out and your house is up to 90 and you're trying to bring hot air through and cool it, but that was just mine, that was years ago, I can't necessarily say that these won't work, but
No, we're not
that's,
solving here.
right, I agree.
Member Borisevich, I just want to let you know that I went and I actually looked up these Keep Cool coolers. They are air conditioners.
Okay.
And you can't, there is an option to add aromatherapy to it if you want it, but they are actual air conditioners.
And the compressor, where did he go?
I don't know.
This doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand, so.
So do we want to start with 2,400? Okay.
I think we could do that.
I do need to move on.
Okay, next item is the Scotch 80 Neighbors Incorporated. They asked for 5,000. Average recommendation was 2,860. Open for discussion.
Member Nuero, I'm a little uncomfortable giving them money just because they already got money from another board, another commission, right? The Arts Commission. So that just made me a little bit uncomfortable that they've already gotten a lot of help and that it made it seem to me like this was more symbolic. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Member Brian, for the same reasons, I said $1,000, but it's more symbolic for them. So I think a small dollar amount will mean more than a large dollar amount, and they have the ability to bring in their own money for a variety of different ways.
Anyone else? With the
Member-
dollar amount?
Member Kirk, I have 2,500.
2,500?
And 16.
Okay. We have 2,500, 1,000. Do we want to make it 2,000 and we can fluctuate afterwards?
Did we say?
I think that's a lot.
I think it's a lot.
And too expensive to think of
It's just symbolic.
7,000.
I'd be somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 maybe.
I think 1,000 is good.
Do we want to go with the 1,000 on this one?
Member Kilconen, isn't the Arts Commission though just for
Money.
art work and not necessarily the installation and some of the other factors that go into the money?
Member Borisevich, now this is going to blow you guys' mind. I went with $3,500. And the reason I did is because where they're located, I mean, I'm sure they can go and knock on Jerry Lewis's door and ask him for the money, but I don't think he's going to give it to him. But the location that they're in, they are being impacted by Project Neon. They're being impacted by the medical district moving in, and and that is a very vital part of Las Vegas is over there in Scotch 80s. And to put up a sign saying who they are, I think it's going to help them, and that's why I went with $3,500. I just don't know if they can raise that money.
This member Brian Kingston, he indicated he could raise the money in his presentation when asked. He just said he would ask for more money from neighbors. He said it wouldn't be a problem.
Okay, then I'm good with 1,000.
Do we want to go with 1,000 and if we need
We'll
to?
start by,
Okay, 1,000 for this one.
see how we do.
Yeah. Okay, next one is Crossroads One HOA. Recommendation, well, requested was $5,000. Recommendation is $2,665. Open for discussion.
Member Borisevich, I went with $1,900, and I don't know why. I'll have to look it up, sorry.
Anyone have a different amount that they would like to give?
Member Kirk, I have 1,500.
1,500. So we have 1,500 and 2,000.
You just give them all 1,500 as well.
Okay.
I think this is very high because I felt it was nice to have, but not something that's really critical to the community. It seems to me to be that vital. So it was low. Any other year would not be so low.
Do we want to start off with 1,500? Is that a good starting point for everyone?
That's converting the spa room, right?
Okay, we'll start with 1,500. All right, we'll do 1,500.
I thought you were, anyway.
Scott Grady was about
Yep, Scott Davies was 1,000, Maria.
Oh, I'm in the wrong place, I'm
a little over 2,400, right?
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
God, I'm like having a hot flash.
Well, that's the work of the computer office. That's about it.
We need you at your best.
Okay.
It's funny.
Okay, next item is Five Points Business Association. Requested amount was $4,000. Average recommendation was $2,786.36. Open for discussion.
This is the 5 Points, this is the one where they want to paint the school wall, right?
Yes.
And the money is going toward an artist. And I'm not comfortable with giving a grant to a group of people to pay an artist. I'm not sure that's something that that's what this whole program is about. I'm sure that they have another way to come up with money or even a diagram. They have really good artists in the schools. I recommended $1,000. And that was to paint the wall outside a color, but the artist thing I was just not comfortable with.
Member Guerrero, I saw this similar to the way that we discussed, is it the Rancho Park Apartments for the computers? Is that the same group? As well as Stupak, that there's multiple agencies that are supporting them and are asking for their help in reducing crime in some of these areas. So for me, I see this more as a grant to kind of reward the efforts they've already made and reward their continued partnership with each other. So to me, it's more than just a mural. It's something that's improving an area that affects multiple neighborhoods and multiple, both the residential neighborhoods and the business community in those areas. So. Oh, I'd recommend the average. What you guys, I wasn't able to vote, so I'm just going to go with the average.
The problem I saw with this one, they said that they wouldn't go forward if they didn't get their funding for the 4,000 or the 35. But I couldn't see giving them either one of those amounts. I would have given them less. So is it a waste of money to throw money at it if they're not going to do their project if they don't get the funding? That's what they said.
Member Borisevich, I think $1,000 would help them paint the wall.
It would be, they might just drop the whole project if they don't get the full funding. That's what they said in that thing.
Maria, can we have clarification?
Well, I thought I sent you an email saying that the group had said that they would do whatever needed to support this project.
All right,
So they would take less than their minimum amount.
Brian Knudsen, I recommended the full amount for the same reasons Member Navarro mentioned. This is a group of concerned citizens that's coming together to try to build their community. That's the whole intention of this grant program. As someone who's hired lots of muralists to do mural projects, it's incredibly difficult to find someone who will do a mural for free. So even with participation from the school district, participation from Metro, having funds set aside to bring in a muralist is absolutely critical to be able to do a mural. And this is a group of people who are business owners around the school who are trying to build up a community around that school. So I think it shows that they've brought in a lot of external groups to focus on the neighborhood, but they don't necessarily live in it. I thought it showed a lot of promise. And that, as someone who's spent a lot of time working in that neighborhood, they desperately need that, and the fact that they came together, I think it's a good opportunity to show them that coming together is worth it for them.
I'd like to, I feel the same way about this community. People around me should be there. I know that community, but I don't think we have the money. I'd like to suggest $2,800, which is basically what the average was, which is a little bit below, not a lot below, it's $7 below what they had the minimum request for.
Okay.
If we had all the money in the world, I would fully fund this program. This is one of my favorites because it brings together the school, the kids, the school district, the city, Metro, business operators, and the parents. It just brings the entire community together. It paints the wall on the exterior for where the name appears, as well as the mural on the inside, and I just think that sounds wonderful. But then I look at the numbers, and their contribution is $250 in cash and $1,000 in kind. And I just think when I look at that, it's really, and even their volunteer hours are the equivalent of $4,500. That's just for all those people. That just doesn't seem like a really big kind of all-in kind of thing. So what I had done was recommended $3,000, especially after we got the email that said they had said doubtful they would go forward if they didn't get at least the $3,500. But I think they'll go for it. I think that this will just kind of push them out to do some kind of fundraising in their community or look to some other sources.
Maria?
Member Kirk, mine was 2,500, so close to the average.
I just want you to know that, there was an email and it said that, I'll skip he says, we would be willing to restructure our project and organize to get more funds from the 5 Points group who seem willing to donate more in order to keep the project alive. So I just want you to know there's a lot of interest in this group.
Member Nero, the only problem I have with giving them just enough money to like paint the wall is that this is also meant to abate graffiti, and I think just painting the wall isn't enough to do that, in my opinion. You need something like a mural to keep people from tagging
I
the
agree
school.
with you. But I sort of agree also that this business community, they have access to funds. They can donate, make contributions, and there are other sources of funds which they haven't pointed out in their proposal. But I think the 2,800 that we all sort of average recommended is a good compromise between the 3,000 and 2,500.
I agree.
Sherry sounds Ward 2. I think 2,800 would be a good start, and if we can increase it or decrease it, then we will. So my recommendation is 2,800.
I'm okay with that.
Next item is Crestwood Neighborhood Association. Requested amount was $3,300, and our average was $2,385. Open for discussion.
I proposed 2,400 just because we don't have the money. I mean, I would love to give them more, I think it's a good project, but it isn't my only critical, but it's a good thing.
concern. For all of the block party grants, including this one, I just went 50% or half of what they asked for. Because I don't think you don't need to have every single piece of equipment at a block party in order to make it successful.
Member Borisovich, I went with $900. And the reason is because it's a block party, it's National Night Out, they've done it year after year after year. They could bring it.
This neighborhood's never done it.
Oh, they've never done it before? But I think that they could raise funds instead of relying on this to, I mean, the block party is a good idea, but it's a party where we have other items where there's safety concerns and we have other kinds of really, really intense need. That was my thought.
I think you,
Pretty damaged community.
yeah. Are you maybe thinking of the Desert Shores group? They also
No.
have a block party every year. Okay. Just making
No, I
sure.
live there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we want
Member Kirk? They rated pretty high on my list, and I have them for 2,500.
2,500, 2,200,
900?
900. Should we start with 2,000?
2,400 myself.
Should we start with 2,000 and then work our way up or down? Play with it?
I think
Okay,
good.
2,000. Next item is Whisper Creek, HOA. Requested amount was $2,400 and average recommendation was $1,875. Open for discussion.
Member Guerrero, one of the things I noted when I was scoring them is that they have 0 for matching funds. So that was just something that I noted when I was scoring them lower.
I proposed
And-
1,000. I'm sorry, I thought you meant-
No, it's okay. 0 in kind and 0 in cash.
Member Sharice on board two, I propose 1,000.
that's what I remember.
Me too. Okay.
Member Franklin, I propose the same amount.
Okay. Can we start with 1,000 on that one?
I think it's good.
Okay. Maria, we'll do 1,000 for Whisper Creek. Next item is Aviana Homeowners Association. The requested amount was $4,600 and the average recommendation was $2,983.33. Open for discussion.
I proposed 3,000.
I proposed $2,950. So $50. Let me figure
I
it out.
propose 2,300.
Yeah.
Brian Keith and I actually only did 1,000. For the reasons contrary to what we talked about before, I don't feel it builds a lot of community. It's not related to safety, it's just aesthetic reasons from my perspective. So I said 1,000.
And, sorry, Member Kirk, I had 1,000 as well.
Okay.
Because, what was your thought?
I was just looking for that.
Well, Member Borisovich, I'm sorry, did I interrupt you, Lance?
No, go ahead.
Okay, the Aviana Homeowners Association, they have water that's running underneath their entrance into their community, and it's pooling there, and it's causing damage to the walls, and it's causing damage to actually their entrance into their association. That's why I went with a higher amount, because they really need to eliminate the issues that they have with the water pooling and damage in the homes and everything. My suggestion might be is to help them out a little bit and tell them maybe they can get in touch with the city, and maybe the city can put like a little, not a culvert, but a dip in the curbing to get the water to flow out instead of standing and pooling there. Can we do that?
Is that Ward 6? Ward 4. Ward 4, and I mean, what Maria, my understanding was that they have worked with the city, and the city was not helping them.
Right.
So it didn't fall within whatever the requirements. Is somebody here from Florida that can
Member Nuero, I recall that they had conversations with Jerry Walker from, I think, maintenance, operations and maintenance, right? So they've had conversations with the city about the issue. I also remember that the biggest issue is that forgive me, but the drainage is not cleared of debris, and so clearing that of debris would probably alleviate a large issue, and so maybe this is a two-phase project where this grant could help them with that immediate issue, and then maybe they can eventually deal with repairing some of the damage from water, which is not something that's immediate or harming anyone. The reason I scored this a little bit lower is because it only affected 4 homes, so that to me kind of, if you're looking at project scope, you're only really affecting 4 people with that amount of money. So that made it score a little less comparatively to the others.
Member sorry. Go ahead. Member Borasevich, maybe we should just go with like 2,700 and then look at it.
Is that okay?
Member.
Greg Tucson, my concern with this whole thing, well, I think this HOA is in a lot of trouble, because this is a huge amount of money. But I also felt as though if we didn't give them these $3,000, I didn't think they could do the project. So I had a lot of questions about that. It's hard to know right now what will work for them. If we give them a number that isn't workable, that money should go someplace else.
Member Kirk, I recall now, the first sentence, it says over the past 20 years they've had trouble with this wall. So that was one concern, is why have they been letting it build for so long? And then also on the contractors, right up there, they said that they will clear out a shovel's length. So that doesn't seem like it's fixing the problem, too. They can only fit the shovel down, 1 shovel length, they actually said. So that, I don't know how it's going to solve their problem. So it seems like they've had an issue for a long time. So that was the reason I put it down to 1,000.
I actually gave them a significant amount of money, and if anybody wants to see, I've got the pictures. One of my concerns is I do think this affects the community, because that standing water creates a big problem, not just actually for the people inside the area, but outside. Also, this area down here where it's filled with silts and stuff that they need to, if that continues to be flooded, it's going to collapse. And then we're going to have a much bigger problem. Maybe it's their problem because that had corresponds to the HOA. The bottom line is we're still going to have a problem where it's going to now move into street stuff. And I think that they've been really hard hit with a lot of this flooding. We have some new detention basins out there that are helping the situation. Well, right now they're where they're at. So I think that it will affect, as their only entrance, I think it affects every home in that subdivision. So I gave them actually $3,000, which is close to what the average is, but that was just the logic behind it.
Well, let's start with 3,000, and if we need to adjust it.
Did we say 3,000?
Maybe nothing speed up at the
Okay, Smoke Ranch, next item, Smoke Ranch Villas, HOA. Requested amount is $5,000, and the average recommendation is $2,760. Open for discussion.
There's so many lighting projects, I can't keep them straight.
Member Borasevich, they said that the project's going to cost $13,225. They have $7,800 in reserve, and they have $900 in contributions. So, and then $44.85 in volunteer hours. So I gave them $32.50. And my only concern was that they were putting it on actual houses, but, you know, if that's where they need them, that's where they need them.
I scored, I think I'm putting 3,000. So we're close.
3250, 3,000.
Chair, Member Mitchell, I put in, I guess we're all in the same vicinity, I put in $3,500. My rationale is I have to see the need for lighting.
This is ADI we're talking about?
No, Smoke Ranch
Smoke Ranch.
was.
Oh, correct, I'm sorry.
And, we've also shown some vigilance and we are, completing about 15 community projects. So, put the lighting alone, that's just a little background, put the lighting alone, creating safety.
All right.
That's the most important thing. Lighting and safety.
Are you comfortable with saying 3,000 start? Okay, 3,000.
So they put up 64% of the cost, so pretty significant cost.
3,000?
Yes. Next item is Crossroads 3 HOA. Requested amount was 4,500 and average recommendation was $2,472.22. Open for discussion.
Member Borisevich, Crossroads 3, I recommended $1,800. They said that they can probably do their project without our funds. It's a worthwhile project. However, if they've already got the funds in reserves to handle the lights, I think that, I'm sorry? 1,800. I just think that, because we don't have the funds, $1,800 is an amount that they can use, but they can still do it without our funds. Yeah. We think alike.
I gave them an even 2,000.
I can support that.
Member Kirk, I did as well, 2,000.
Okay, so do we want to go with 2,000 and work with it
So,
if we need to? Okay, Crossroads 3, 2,000. Next item, Mariposa Community Association, requested amount 5,000 and average recommendation $2,788.89. Open for discussion.
they're putting up 72% of the cost, that HOA is. That's a lot.
Member Borisevich, I recommend $1,800. The reason is that it's $13,915. They have in reserves $12,500, which is a difference of $1,415. It might deplete the reserves, but for this amount, but you can always move money around in your reserves, and so that's why I recommended $1,800. Just give them a couple of extra bucks.
Member Sharice Holmes, I gave him 2,000.
Member Kirk, I have 2,000 as well.
It sounds like a number.
Any other amounts? Okay. Mariposa Community Association, we're going to go with 2,000 for now. Next item, Glen Heather Estates Neighborhood Association, requested amount 4,100. Average recommendation was $2,138.89.
Where are they, Glen Heather?
Open for discussion.
I would get it 1,400.
I gotta find them and then I can tell you.
I know.
This is, I know we brought this up with Scott Jady, but this is another association that's been hit with Project Neon. They had a whole half street of homes, probably about 15 that they removed from the community as part of Project Neon. They have a number of other issues that they're contending with in the community, and they're trying to make their neighborhood look a little nicer. I know not just their neighborhood, but throughout the city there's an issue with, particularly when it comes to the walls and the need for them to be repainted, especially when there's this patchwork of painted over graffiti. And it seems like that's something that could help raise that community.
This is other than gave me the impression that if we didn't give them the full funding, I was questioning whether they could do the project at all.
Member Borisevich, I gave him $2,300 because you can buy paint and paint the walls. I think the additional money was for a party afterwards, so I gave him the amount of money for the paint, only because it would liven up the area, because I'm familiar, I mean, I drive past this area, so the paint would make it look nicer.
Vicki Skilbreath. I'm really torn with this because I think that we really need to enhance that corridor. And I think that painting that long strip of wall would be a big improvement. But I also know that we've already given them a grant once before, and it took them well over the year to actually get the project done. So they've already told us right up front that if they don't get their full minimum, they aren't going to be able to do it, or that there will be problems doing it. So I'm kind of torn because, as Greg said, if we give them money, and this is something that we've asked for in the past, is that we want to have a report each year on the previous year's projects, so we get a better feel for when are things going forward, when is it not working, so that we're not giving people money that we could have given to a different project. I'd really like to see that wall improved, so I did give them, I think I gave them 1,500, that's part of it.
14%.
And, with the concern that, and I think we've done this again in the past, where we designated that if money that is allocated to an applicant, the applicant determines they cannot do the project, then we have an alternative. Maria, didn't we do an alternative award?
You mean that if they can't do that,
Then that money will be reallocated, and once the board's dissolved, once we take a break, there's no way for us to do that. So we did an award, we said, this is how much to all the applicants, and these two questionable projects, if they don't go forward, then this money will be reallocated to this project, and this project.
well, and I
think that's what
don't
we
know
did.
how we've never done that before, but I think that at some point, and I'll have to inquire about whether it's just, what do you think? I mean, I don't know.
Terry Ponticello, Assistant City Attorney, I believe it was last year,
Yeah.
Vicki, we actually had 3 projects. One of them, I want to say it was the horse estates one, Palomino. And anyway, make a long story short, you could not contact the applicant in the time that we were doing the deliberations to get some feedback. So we had to do this alternative motion for the particular candidate.
Okay,
So-
I didn't understand what you said, but yes, we did have these other, thank you, yes. I think 3 of them, and what I did after we finished this, I called them and I said, they only awarded you this based on you had requested this, can you still do the project? And yes, and so I think just by calling them, we can do that, yes.
So I was looking at 1,500 with a caveat that if they determine after we've met and voted, if they can't do the project, then we could take that money and reallocate it to some of the other.
Question for Greg Toussaint. How does it work? This money is allocated in the budget for this fiscal year. They spent this fiscal year, right? So if they can't do the project in the fiscal year, where does the money go?
It goes back to general fund.
So it's not spent. So
We don't spend it on any other project if the allotted or the assigned organization doesn't use it, then it goes back into the general fund. But, I mean, I'm still not done, we're finalizing, we still have some that are, we've been hustling to get them to finish. And so, or maybe they had a board change and then there was an issue with that and.
can you estimate how much money is not spent because of this in other years?
Only have one.
Typically?
Only have one that we're working on, and we $300
This is
end
all
of this
done.
month
From last
for
year.
them. Yeah, they're just, it's gonna be reimbursements.
So last year, all the money was spent except this one you're working on right now.
This, that's, yes, it's
Nope. So it's not a big issue at the moment.
no.
Okay, thanks.
So should we say 1,500 for this project? To start, yes,
For
1,500.
Glen Heather,
Yes.
1,500.
Next item is Charleston Village Homes, HOA. Requested amount was $3,500. Average recommendation, $2,205. Open for discussion.
Member Borisevich, I went with 1850 for the lighting.
Like that, too.
Yeah, I do. We should collaborate on more things, you know?
I was looking over your shoulder.
Sharice Holmes, I said 1,800.
Lance Kirk, I had 2,000.
Any others?
I go with 2,000, just because of the safety issue, the homeless people living in everywhere. I think that's way important.
Okay. So we have 1,800, we have 2,000, how about 1,900?
That sounds good to me.
Sure.
Okay, 1,900. Next item is Desert Shores Community Association. They were asking for 2,800. Average recommendation is $1,750. Open for discussion.
Even though I didn't vote and I'm on the board,
Should you even say anything?
should I say anything?
No.
You'll probably not say anything at all.
Sharice Holmes, I gave him 1,000.
Member Mitchell, I would agree with that. I think it's a really good idea that they're gonna have a party. We're gonna create kind of an impact or an enduring value impact like maybe some of the other things like the computer or something, but it does bring the community together. And I think that's good. I would concur with yours.
Okay. All right.
Member Christensen, I like the sense of community they have at Desert Shores, and I think that we definitely should give them money. I put between 1 and 1,500 for these 3 events.
All right.
Member Kirk, I had them at 1,500, and they rated one of my highest for me, but I'd be willing to go up, in the 1,800 range as well. So somewhere in the 1,500 to 1,800.
Okay.
If you remember, I did 1,000 as well, so I'd be willing to go with the 1,500 and then we'll adjust if we need to.
Okay.
Okay.
1,500? Okay. We will say 1,500 for now for Desert Shores Community Association. And if we need to adjust it, then we will. Next item is Kentridge Neighborhood Association. The requested amount was $3,500. Average recommendation was $1,738.89. Open for discussion.
Member Borisevich, I gave them $1,000. It's an association that is getting a lot of, it gets advertisement just because of where it's located. And they want to be able to hand out brochures that I'm not sure is really doing a whole lot for the neighborhood. So I gave them $1,000.
Okay.
I'm sorry, brochures? I didn't catch that in the application. That's not Huntridge, that's the cultural
but
forward one.
I know, but let me find them and I'll.
The Huntridge wants to plant trees.
Oh, sorry, I was wrong.
That's okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't asleep when they did the
No.
presentation.
I must have been.
I said, oop.
Oh, well, then the Huntridge, I gave them $1,000 because they're only planting 4 trees. And so it's only 4 homeowners that will be out there watering the trees, and it's another street. They did it last year for, I don't know how many houses they did last year, but this is for 4 trees. And I'm not sure,
This is different. I also recommended $1,000. And part of what drove that for me was the fact that this will be their 5th year in a row that they've received a grant. And so, since we're already up against the wall and not having enough money for really great projects across the board, I just thought it was fair to take that money and allocate it to people who receive less.
So what's the amount? 1,000?
Yeah, I thought.
So should we say 1,000 for them for now?
Are we setting by what you're saying, are we setting a trend that says if you've been doing this for several years, you should especially stop? We don't want to have long-term repeat projects. How do you feel?
Remember, Mitchell, I don't think that would be the case. Otherwise, we would want to tier them all in certain tiers.
That'd be
If they
what?
come in previous years, then they should come in at 60-70%, for example. Or if it's the first time, maybe they should have maybe a more favorable in order to get something new started. But I think the point is that if we do it that way, then we automatically kind of start out, creating a disparity. And it's okay, but if we do that, then it should be in a certain tier if we do it. First timers in a certain tier, repetitive groups in another tier, and then we can balance it a lot more efficiently and effectively. But I agree with, in my summation, I agree with, they have come back on many occasions, and they are working on beautification. Certainly contemplates what the city is doing in terms of beautification, streetscape beautification. That's a good thing, and it has enduring value. So that would be my agreement, or my suggestion, $1,000 minimum on that. Just do that.
Member Kirk? A couple things. Looking at their quote, and they have 10, 15-gallon mesquite trees, so they have quite a few trees. I don't think it's just 4. They may have, I
They
remember
did say
there was
4.
a couple on each block. Yeah, because they have a lot of different trees, different mesquites, acacia trees, 15-gallon, 10 of those. So those will become quite large trees. So.
Member, oh, sorry.
And then, yeah, I would agree with, yes, what Mitchell was just saying, but, they've been doing this grants for many years, but they haven't been the same thing. This is just the second year with the trees, and I think they're just kind of smart as a neighborhood association that doesn't have any income. They have no funds. They're not an HOA. They don't take money. So they're actually trying to beautify their community and getting their neighborhood to help them. But I have $2,500 down for that.
Member Norrero, my only comment is that yes, there's more trees, and I understand that maybe only 4 homes. Those trees will only be in front of 4 homes, but they're in strategic areas where people either drive and enter into their neighborhood. So to create sort of a better effect on the beautification. So they're in areas where maybe people will get a different impression of the community, reducing crime, etc. So they are in strategic locations, and also a community that walks a lot and is close to downtown and is fairly pedestrian friendly and bicycle friendly. More people are going to enjoy those trees instead of just the 4 homes that are right in front. So I don't have an amount because I didn't come up with an amount, but that's just my comments.
Do you want to say 1,500?
Also suggested.
1,500? Okay, Maria, we'll do 1,500 on this one to start. Next item, Cultural Corridor Coalition. They are asking for 4,000. Our average recommendation was $1,977.78. Open for discussion.
Member Borisevich, I gave them $1,500. And the reason behind that was they want to put it on the radio. Cox Web online advertising for $1,000, library, and they're talking about the Mob Museum and the other amenities downtown that are already advertising their own with their own budget. So that's kind of like a duplication, and that's why I recommended $1,500.
Member Powell, I guess I lean pretty heavily on cultural corridor, or close to 4,000, only because it is the one area where, in the middle of town, where everybody can enjoy. Like, I never really go to the art stuff, because I'm not doing all that walking. But I've driven through there when the masses of people have been there, and there's been it's like this huge block party, like you literally have to almost drive around. I know in different years they've asked for different things like lighting and just advertising, but I really do believe that without this, we really have nothing else. Before the Smith Center was built, this city really had nothing else but the Strip. And now, we have this whole little area that would otherwise be dying right in the center of our city that has to do with art and music and everything else they have down there. And I think too.
Is the Smith Center part of this?
Huh?
Is the Smith Center part of this? Cultural corridor?
No. They usually, when you hear about the cultural corridor, it's like art district, the museums, the natural media, that little area.
Well, I'm just trying to understand
Yeah.
what your point is, that you were saying that all these things are now.
Before the Smith Center,
Oh.
like we really we didn't have much else but the Strip there in Las Vegas. So this is just another focal point for us. It's great that we have the Smith Center now, which have a focal point for culture. But now that we have that, then we still have the cultural corridor. And I guess I always lean heavily to try to fund that only because it just gives us another spotlight in our city.
Member Koponen, I just question whether, in this day and age, it seems like you could get a lot of outreach for relatively little cost just through communicating with, getting that information out to the school district through various social media. Things get picked up by the reporters all the time, and this has been something that's been going on for a few years now. I think that it seemed like a lot of money to attribute to basically advertising when there are other outlets that can be equally effective.
I agree with Anna per se. I thought it was kind of a low money for advertising, even though I think they can get more creative with their advertising bucks. Because people are getting more interested in downtown all the time, and it wouldn't take that much of a push to get going. And Facebook is pretty huge now, and other ways I think they could probably spend their money a little wiser than Cox and some radio stations.
Member Nuero, I feel the same way about this project as I do kind of about the West Huntridge, the Cinnamon, and the Circle. I feel like it's a neighborhood that needs more opportunities to create positive experiences in that neighborhood. It's adjacent to a lot of bad parts. A lot of negative connotations related to that neighborhood. So I think exposing as many people as possible to something that's positively happening in that neighborhood is great. I wish the money that they are asking for wasn't related to advertising, but maybe was related to the actual event, so that they could maybe create a more meaningful experience for people to attract people to that area. But I also feel like the applicant was originally wanting to do murals, and this is something that was the only last thing that maybe benefited all agencies equally, and not just one over the other that's in that corridor. Those are my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Chair. Again, I think what we're seeing is also, again, the psychology of how we all perceive these different areas, whether it's the Huntridge or the cultural corridor. The issues that we're dealing with is often difficult to kind of get our arms around. And I will stipulate that it's quite a bit of money asking for some advertising. I'll stipulate that. But we also have to, I think, look at MPF in its historical context. It's really to help those in very low income communities that have a disparate need. And this for, like it or not, it does have a need. I would stipulate, it's a heavy ask for 3,000. I'd like to, in my estimation, propose maybe $2,000 as a basis point, maybe but it is not in the same parity with some of the other neighborhoods. I would even throw a name out there, unoffensively, Scott Davis. two different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Entirely two different worlds, but the ask was similar. And I think MBF has a greater need, you know, or I should say, Culture Quarter has a greater need. And as I said, I'm willing to stipulate it wasn't pretty heavy ask for it. So 2,000 would be nice.
Member Powell, just one more comment. You know, it would seem as that though, you know, in 2016, that we have all these technological advances and devices. And I do a lot of studying at night, a lot. In fact, this morning I was reading an article, and it was about children. And I remember on another committee, somebody coming up and saying, oh, we're going to give them books. I'm like, for real? In 2016, why can't they have tablets? Why can't they have, you know, and literally in the article that was written this year, it was saying, oh, the way that you move literacy, you have to give kids books, physical books. 2016. And so it's like, we tend to think out of the box because we have access to these things, but there is a whole world of people that don't have it like that, and they are back in the Stone Age. And that's why I can identify with, gosh, this is a lot of money, but this is the only way to reach them, seriously, because they may not have access.
Member Toussaint, I've been on this board for a long time, and I recall that in the past we've had a number of problems with this group with actually spending the money for what was supposed to be spent on. And this last year, they said that they weren't able to do the mural or something because, did they not say that? No. And I'm just questioning how important these funds are to the culture corridor. I'm not saying it's not a good purpose, it is, but it seems as though a number of years they haven't spent the money, or haven't spent it all, or haven't spent it on what they intended to spend it on. Is that correct, Maria, or am I wrong?
I think you're right in mistaking it. This group, they did get the mural, they got the house and painted and everything, but what they said was that they needed to find, it was hard to get volunteers or something. What was it that
They had a little challenge on it, as far as, I think there was, getting the permission and all that stuff. And then, I don't recall her ever saying any volunteers, hours for that, plenty of hours. So I don't recall that, but she did send me pictures of it, and so they did see it, it was a little challenging. And this year, they were gonna try to do another one, but they just could not find a location that was willing to give them the permission right away.
So just to clarify, so you really haven't had a lot of problems with culture corridor spending the money that we've granted?
No, they've always spent their money on time, they're really good about reporting, and they always give me all the hours they carry. Actually, they exceed the hours that they say they're gonna carry. I've never had a problem.
Member Borisevich, I have a question. So basically, they want these funds to have a group of, to advertise a December to Remember. There's no stores really in that area. They're talking about advertising for the Mob Museum, the Neon Museum, Cashman Center, the History Museum, Old Las Vegas Fort, and the Las Vegas Library. So $4,000 to advertise where those things are already being advertised really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I just don't understand what they're really going to use that money for.
My understanding of the way they work with any of these programs when they do the advertising, is that they attract people to come downtown to walk that corridor, to go to the library, to go to the cultural court, to the history museum, to go to all the little places there, which they would probably never do if they didn't publicize the different activities downtown. And so that's all they're doing it. And so the advertising is just to get the public to understand that you can buy a ticket for the weekend and you can see these beautiful costumes or the trees or whatever she does during the different December to Remember events.
Sharice Holmes, Ward 2. Our average recommendation was $1,977.78. Let's just round that to 2,000.
Second.
Okay, next item, Four Winds Homeowners Association. Requested amount was $5,000. Average recommendation was $2,422.22. Open for discussion.
I have 1,800.
I had 2,800. What they did was, they want $4,500, but they said that they got donations of $20,140.23. So I just, in their handout, that's where that was. So I'm not even understanding why they are asking for that when their total amount is $11,000, so. $2,800, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Member Nero, this is also a group that showed several projects they had received a grant.
2009 through 2015.
Right.
Continuously.
This is a HOA capital improvement.
Yeah.
They're putting up 80% of the cost themselves. And my question is really how valuable is this to the community, really? It's just nice to have. We got a lot of great projects here, and so I didn't rate it as highly as would be somebody.
Member Kirk, I had 1,500 down, and same type, it was sort of low on my list, and knowing if this would really benefit the community as much as they thought it would. 1,500.
And so we're saying both.
You had 2,800.
I also had 1,500 and with a star that I was willing to go lower because to me, building a casita, again, I agree, how much does this bring the community together? It's a convenience for the interior of the project, and they have had continuous project grants already funded, and we're already short of money, so I guess if I'm willing to go down, I'm willing to go up a little bit, so, but I had down 1,500.
Member Kilconen, Elizabeth Hughes had a similar project. And I'm looking at what her recommendation.
We gave them 1,000.
So far, we have 1,000.
Right.
Just pointing that out. I don't know if you wish to differentiate that.
Do we want to start with 1,500? Would that be a fair amount to start with?
I'm okay with it.
Chair, Member Mitchell, I would actually kind of concur with Ann's proponents, rationale. It was a solar project. It really had a limited scope and effect serving to the community, but that's important too because they have to have community, identity and cohesion, all those nice things. So I would tend to think they could probably levy some more money from some of the neighbors to build their own project. I would recommend 1,000 as a suggestion.
So do we want to start with 1,000 as our point? Okay, we'll do 1,000. Next item, Durango Estates, requested amount $2,900, average recommendation $2,130. Open for discussion.
Member Nuero, this was a group that really stood out for me just because I felt like this grant can also incentivize groups to come together, and they're a brand new group, formed, coming together, and I think this would really empower them and engage them to continue working on projects and maybe even inspire them to kind of beautify their own homes when their entryway is completed. So I would go with the average.
Any other suggestions?
I was going to remind us all that they had signage issues where the sign said the wrong thing
Right.
and the other one, so I think it's kind of a good project for that, and some resolutions and other issues.
I agree. I think also they're doing a lot of the work themselves. They're paying for the payment.
Yep.
So it's really a community project.
Yeah, I went with, Member Borisevich, I went with 2,000 because the sign is, and entrance, and it will help also people find their developments. I think that'd be great.
That's number I have too.
Yep, well, there you go.
You guys are twins.
I know, isn't that weird?
Financial twins.
Member Holmes, I went with 2,000.
Member Kirk, I had 1,800.
Oh, come on, 2,000.
I'm comfortable with that, yeah.
Shall we say 2,000 for this project for now? I'll go 2,000.
Man, I thought I was gonna really have to go to bat for them, and you guys were so agreeable. I was like
Next
ready.
item, Canyon Mist Estates, HOA. They are asking for 5,000. Our recommendation was $2,345. Open for discussion.
Member Borisevich, I went with $2,100. In their pictures, they did the shrubs didn't look like it was a necessity for them to replace. I really don't think any of this is a necessity for this organization here, replacing shrubs. That's just my opinion.
Member Holmes, I went with 2,000.
So we're close.
Well, that's the same as what we just gave Durango Estates for an entry
Yeah, one sign, one.
beautification.
Yeah.
Any other amounts that we wish to discuss?
Member Kirk, I have 1,500 as well.
Okay. 1,500, 2,000.
They're putting up a huge amount of money themselves,
Mm-hmm.
so they're gonna do the project, you know,
Should we go in the middle with 1,750?
I think that's good.
Okay. 1,750.
I can only do solid, 100, so 1,700.
1,700. 1,700. Next item, Aventura Homeowners Association, they asked for 5,000, and our recommendation is $2,455.56. Open for discussion.
$3,000.
I gave them 1,800. And as soon as I find it, I can tell you why.
I had it at 1,500.
1,500.
Yeah, no, I can check.
Thanks, Kirk, I had it at 2,000.
Any other amounts?
Member Nuero, I just want to note that this is their second time doing the same project. Third time doing the same project. Okay.
Member Borisevich, third time, they're gonna put lights in where the,
Not in the same place, but it's the third time they put
Third
lights
phase, I
in
guess.
using this grant. They did it in 2009, they did it again in 2014, and now they're gonna do it, they're looking to do it in 2016. So,
For the third phase of the lighting project.
and they made it pretty clear that they're looking to do possibly another phase in the future. So again, I'm back to where I think these projects are great. Of course, I think lighting is a safety issue. I know there's been a significant, just as there's been everywhere, explosion in crime. But I don't want to become their, annual or semi-annual funding source, because money's getting tighter and tighter, and I want to encourage new people to come forward, and we want to take care of other HOAs who haven't had an assistant. So, yeah,
You know, I think that
public cares, I think I split it in half. I think I gave them two, but again, that was just so I reconcile. We have some more adjusting to do because, as a group.
Member Tucson, this project, a lot of these projects come back year after year because we don't give them what they ask for, and they have to face the project out, so we gotta keep that in mind, I think. I don't know if that's the case here, but I wouldn't be surprised, because in the last couple of years, we've been have the same kind of problem we have now, only not quite as bad.
Do we want to average it to 2,500? Okay, that one is 2,500.
Sorry, just a note, because I am from Ward 3. We're giving another project like the Hundreds Association, which also has a phase project, less money than this group. So I just want to note that. They're getting 1,500.
So do we want to say 1,500 or do we want to? Okay.
Four sets,
If you're saying 1,500, I'd support you on 1,500 just to keep it fair and equitable.
That's what I'm
This is Ward
suggesting.
2, and I would support that.
Okay, we'll do 1,500. Next item, Tuscany Hills North Homeowners Association, they requested 2,700. Our average recommendation is 1,722. Open for discussion.
Member Borisevich, this is the individual that said that the CCNRs and their reserve study did not allow them to replace their bulbs, and therefore they wouldn't be able to use the reserve funds. And I'm not sure if it's even clear that we got in the email that you sent us how much they have in reserves that they could put toward this project, Maria?
Well, I put down whatever you told me.
What was that?
35,
Oh, I'm sorry.
3,500, I think it was 32. Do you remember, did you print it out? Or-
No, I didn't. I'm so sorry. Because the reserves are used to replace, repair, or maintain. Because if something is gone out of style, you want to get the new style and so that it's more efficient. So I recommend that we need to discuss this one. I was down to $1,000.
Number 2, son, just to clarify the reserve thing, we probably already awarded money to half a dozen HOAs who are using their reserve funds to do the projects. And we have awarded them money as well. So we're not, just because somebody has money in reserve, we shouldn't penalize them. If that's the case, I think a lot of HOAs you shouldn't apply.
Member Borisevich, my statement, just to clarify, is that the individual didn't think that they could use the money in their reserves. Therefore, they were requesting the full amount, not using any of their money because he didn't believe that he could use it. So he might want to talk to the ombudsman's office just to get clarification for his own peace of mind. But he could actually use 3381 out of his reserves to pay for this, and so.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But as I'm saying, other HOAs, if we don't
Understand.
fund their money, they're going to use the reserves they've got. and
Right.
Plan to spend on those same things. The project's going to go through because they have money in reserves. We're providing this financial benefit to that HOA. And maybe something the committee wants to look at, if the board wants to look at, I don't know whether that's a good use of our funds or not.
Remember Maria Norero, I recommend we give them the average, just to start with the number.
1,800?
I have 1,700,
The one that's
but yeah,
on the
1,800, yeah, to round up.
I'd say 1,200.
The big problem, I like it.
1,800? Okay, 1,800.
You have a lot of stars.
And the last one,
What do you want in for?
1,800.
Tuscany was
That's
1,800.
And our last item, La Mancha Summerlin Property Owners
And
Association.
the rest?
Requested amount was 3,200. Average recommendation was $1,544.44. Open for discussion.
La Mancha.
Yeah, La Mancha Summerlin.
What am I looking at? I'm looking at the wrong document.
I had 1,200.
Oh, duh. La Mancha.
This is the one that wanted furniture for,
Yeah.
and seating for the
Yeah,
HOA?
La Mancha,
Yes.
I recommended $1,500 because the product that they were going to buy is a little pricey. And they could go down.
I need to make a disclosure that my partner in crime with Ward 2, John Baer, his wife sits on the board for this HOA. but she and I have not discussed this in any way, shape, or form. Everything I've done has just been here at this. And I agree with Beth. I looked at what they're proposing, and the sofas
Yeah.
are very nice,
Mm-hmm.
but they're pricey, and the dining room table is actually just a small round table with four very comfortable chairs.
Right.
And so what I did was I kind of looked at it and went, hey, if this is really a meeting room, then I support buying the proposed padded folding chairs,
Mm-hmm.
or even maybe more of those, and that was approximately $500 of the budget, so that's what I recommended.
Vicki, what's the nature of this community?
It's a-
Financially and
It's
otherwise?
it's a small HOA in Summerlin,
It's an
on a
HOA.
gated community. And if you'll remember back, this isn't their first request either. They've actually gotten, I think this will be their fourth grant. And it's sort of, I remember the last two previous years when they asked for funding to do landscaping, because this is a very walkable community. They all know their neighbors, they all walk, but now they need to redo their meeting room because they all need to become more socialized with each other. So I'm kind of like,
The reason I asked the question was that there's only $500 donated by the
Mm-hmm.
members of the community, which is pretty low,
Yeah.
given the size of the project.
And the sofa that they picked is from Wayfair, which is not an inexpensive company. And Mr. and Mrs. Patio has some nice outdoor equipment.
I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing at that, sorry.
So, yeah, actually, I'm willing to go down to $500 just for the chairs.
I propose 1200.
Member Kirk, I had 1,200 as well.
Okay. I'm hearing 500, I'm hearing 1,200. Do we want to do 700? 700 reasonable?
Member Christensen, I think that they aren't creative enough, they could go get donations within their community. I don't think they need tons of money, so I'm willing to go a compromise between those. The low 5, which is really quite low, and the higher 1,500.
So 1,000? 900?
1,000, I think 1,000.
Okay, 1,000.
Okay, so how much are we over?
no, I think we're under. We can go back to some of our great projects and
Oh, we're under. How much are we?
$1,000 to spend.
1,000?
3,900.
Oh, 3,900, okay.
So that's where our starting is.
It'd be easy to give money.
I'd say we look at them and see which ones actually are for safety. Yeah,
Did we want to revisit Stupak and give them the extra 500?
I will-
Sure.
Okay.
5,000.
yeah. That's good. How about Rulon?
Yes.
An extra 500 to
Also a star
Rulon?
in El Camino.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, I was going to go down the list.
Oh, sorry.
Rancho Park Apartments, are we kind of comfortable with that amount of 4,000? Rancho.
Oh, Rancho?
Mhm. Computers. Are we kind of happy with that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's more than their minimum, so.
Okay. West Huntridge Neighborhood Association, 3,000. Do we want to be flexible with that?
I thought we were going to do the starred ones.
No, I'm just going to go down the list.
Mhm.
I only have, how many stars did you have? Is that what you were saying, you were going to do the stars?
Oh, no, no, no. She's just going down the list.
Okay. El Camino Community Association. Do you want to keep that at 1,500? Ruben Earl Mobile Home Park, 2,400.
I think we should give them an extra 5.
Their minimum request was 4,500.
So I can just go to 3.
Yes, because average recommendation is $3,144.44.
Okay, so we're gonna give them an extra 600?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Scotch 80 Neighbors, 1,000.
I'm good with that.
Are we good with that one? Crossroads 1 HOA, 1,500.
I'm good with that one too.
Their
Yeah.
minimum is 2,000, their minimum request.
I think 1,500 is good. They can do that. Their project with 1,500.
Okay. 5 Points Business Association,
So what did we decide, 1,500?
Yeah.
5 Points Business Association, 2,800.
I would just advocate for that one.
Okay.
I think that project is very helpful for that neighborhood.
So you want 3,000?
I agree.
Okay, 3,000 for 5 Points. No, that's Crestwood.
This one was,
We haven't gotten it yet, I don't think.
Crestwood was 2,000.
No, we haven't.
No, we haven't
We
gotten
haven't
to
gotten
them.
there
No.
yet.
Oh, before.
We have messed it up.
Yeah.
It's 2,000.
And 5 Points, we're going to make 3,000.
It's the next one up.
Yeah, right up.
From where you are, it's 5 Points is the one above it.
I'm sorry,
It's okay.
I lost it there. So what do you want here?
3,000.
3,000.
what do we have now? Crestwood?
Well, that's what I wanted to look, we
We're-
still have 2,700.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Okay, Crestwood Neighborhood Association, 2,000. Do we want to keep that at 2,000?
I'd like to clear that up a little bit.
Okay.
Trying to find it here.
Would you like to give them 2,500?
What's it now? Sorry.
2,000.
I think 2,100.
I had them at 900, so
2,900, or what was it, still talking?
We're still talking about Crestwood.
It's a 2,000 now. I go with 2,500. I think it's a great project. It helps the community. It brings a lot of elements of the community together. Not many projects do that.
Do you want to keep it at 25? Do you want to do 24?
I like, Vicki Skipper, I like going to the 25 because I think this will be the first one they've had ever. And so let's jumpstart them and get that positive relationship between Metro and the community and, I'm good. If we get the money, I'm great with 2,500.
Maria, would you like to change that one to 2,500?
Sorry, which one was that?
Crestwood.
Yep. Down to non-seasonal. Okay. Oh, all right.
How much do we have?
2,900.
2,900.
2,100.
21?
Where?
Okay.
Who?
wait a minute. That's, which one is that? Crestwood? We're doing 2,900 or 25?
25.
Okay.
We were just talking about
Oh.
how we had it.
Oh.
Let it go.
Oh.
It's getting confusing.
Whisper
Yeah.
Creek, 1,000. Okay, good with that one?
I'm good with that one.
Okay, Aviana Homeowners Association.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh,
Same.
It is
Whisper
Same.
Creek, Same.
No change.
Aviana Homeowners Association, 3,000.
I'm good with that.
Are you good with 3? Smoke Ranch Villas HOA, 3,000.
I'm good with that.
Okay, Crossroads 3 HOA, 2,000. Are you good with that one?
I'm good with that one.
Okay, Mariposa Community Association, 2,000.
I'm good with that
I'm
one.
good with that.
Glen Heather Estates Neighborhood Association, 1,500.
I think you can go up on that one, and then match its partner, then the 2,500 that we have at Glen Heather Estates.
And the Desert Shores?
That's 3,500.
No, of the Huntridge?
The Glen Heather, I think we could probably go up to 2,000.
Yeah.
That's a long corridor that affects the entire,
Yeah.
and it's a major corridor.
Okay, so Glen Heather, we will go up to 2,000.
There's 1,600 left.
That's not 1,900, is it?
Yeah, right now Charleston Village is 1,900, we have 1,600 left,
Okay.
right now in the bottom of the pot.
Okay.
Charleston Village Homes HOA,
That's a late.
do we want to give them 2,000?
That would be great.
Nice figure. Looks better with the round number.
Desert Shores Community Association, 1,500. Do we want to change that?
I would stay there. I mean, it's
Two.
pretty good.
I
pretty
agree.
good event, community party.
Okay. Huntridge Neighborhood Association, 1,500.
Keep going.
I
There,
would
but
recommend going up.
Yeah.
I think so.
I agree.
How about 18 or 2,000?
You could probably put the other two on these other beautification ones.
you want 1,800?
1,800.
I think 1,800's good.
Okay. So we're changing it from 1,500 to 1,800?
Mhm.
Okay, Cultural Corridor Coalition, we're giving them 2,000. Should we keep it at 2,000?
I
Yes.
think so.
We still have 1,200 left.
Okay. Four Winds Homeowners Association, we have 1,000.
I'm sorry, was that at 2,000?
Yes.
Is that what I was asking?
I think go up to that one, 4 wins.
Do we want to go give them another 200?
Sure.
1,200?
If you do, probably should go up on this Cricket as well.
So shall we change it to 1,200? Okay. Four Winds HOA is going to be 1,200.
What's that?
Should we go back and change Whisper Creek to 1,200?
Yeah.
Where's Whisper Creek at?
Who wants it? Where is it at?
Chair.
It was the bottom.
Yes.
Well, are they going to compare notes?
May I?
No, it's near the top of the second page.
Break the really low to make a proposed, revisit
Near the
the
top
Rancho
section.
Oh, there it is.
Community Association.
Is it-
Rancho Park?
Rancho Community Association, if I could just kind of maybe break the rhythm and throw that out there as a reconsideration for maybe a little bit. They seem to have a pretty good model where they're working with many different groups, churches, and everybody, and we've got a stronger community than we had before. I'm looking at crime statistics, it's a lot better.
Are you requesting 4,600? I think it's a really good project for those kids in that neighborhood.
Right now,
We're at
4,000.
4,000.
Yeah, I would like to request if we can maybe throw maybe another $100 or so in there. I think we still got about $1,000.
Maria, how much do we have left?
Their minimum request was 3,700, so we're already giving them.
$800.
We have
That
800.
would be my request, if we could throw maybe another $100 in there.
4,100 then? Which is more than their minimum request.
Yeah, that's my request for everyone.
Okay. But you know that's more than their minimum.
Everyone who's giving me.
Yep. There are other things.
He's not acknowledging what I'm saying.
So, can we give them another 100? Okay.
I'm okay with it. I just wanted you to acknowledge me.
I know you would.
If we need if we need 100, we'll take it back from them.
That's good. It was a suggestion, as I think.
Oh, he's a
Next
politician.
item, Durango Estates,
What's that called?
2,000.
Where are we now?
No.
We're for-
Durango Estates.
There's a
We're,
word
yes,
for it,
past
like
Four
political
Winds, the
interviews.
next one, Durango
What's it called?
Estates, is 2,000.
Where
Are we
I'm good with
comfortable
that.
Keep going down, Maria.
There you go. Two-thirds of the way
We're
down.
Durango Estates.
Oh, okay.
So are we happy with the 2,000 for that?
Bump it up, actually.
I think we're good.
How much do we have? 700.
About 200.
I agree
These
with
guys
that.
do it themselves.
I agree with that.
Okay. 2,200?
2,200 is what's on here?
Yes.
You got $500 to spend, guys. That's fair.
500.
Have our own party.
Community.
The NPF neighborhood barbecue.
All the wards.
That's a good idea.
Okay, next item, can you
Just take
miss the
over
state's
City Hall.
HOA 1,700? Should we make it 1,800?
I don't know, I had 2,000 originally. Where did McKinney miss? 2,100.
I don't remember what we did.
1,900 I'd be good with.
I support something.
To
Okay,
19?
1,900.
Don't leave us.
Okay, 100 each for each of them? Each of the three remaining?
That's good. So 16 for Adventura.
I'm sorry, what was Katie missing?
Can you miss is now 1,900.
So this is 19.
Aventura will be changed to 1,600. Tuscany will be 1,900. And La Mancha will get 1,100.
Easy to look at,
Tuscany is
19.
1,900. And La Mancha will be 1,100.
I move we approve this.
Wait. She's
We have to have a
coaching her. She's
motion.
coaching her.
We can do them individually, so that you get all the aid. Okay, so you are again. And also you get all the
You know when you're like all prepared with your speech in case someone resists you and then the person responds, I agree. You kind of go,
For the record, have you taken these as master approval of the entire list, or you took them individually?
We've taken this, you know, for the people who cannot vote, you know,
Okay.
so we exclude those out.
But you do it as one
As a
big,
master, yeah.
one
One
big
big.
motion.
We have, for example, Beth, who can't, so we leave out the Ward 2 for her. And then
Desert Shores.
whatever the other ones are,
So,
Lance. So we,
if I may, Madam Chair, if we can get all the abstentions, conflicts on the record for right now before we go into the motion. So,
Okay.
I think you have three.
I'm at this vote.
Two of them.
Ward 4, Bethport, Savage, Desert Shores.
For which item? For Desert Shores.
Desert Shores.
Thank you.
Lance Kirk, Ward 3, abstaining from West Hunter's Neighborhood Association.
Okay. And then
Greg
you want to-
Tucson, abstaining from Desert Shores.
Why don't you make the motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the applications as read for the record for Stupak Center, Success Team Pals, an award of $5,000. For Rancho Park Apartments, 10,000 Kids, an award of $4,100. For West Huntridge Neighborhood Association, an award of $3,000. For El Camino Community Association, an award of $1,500. For Rulin Earl Mobile Home Park, an award of $3,000. For Scotch 80s Neighbors, Inc., an award of $1,000. For Crossroads One HOA, an award of $1,500. For Five Points Business Association, an award of $3,000. For Crestwood Neighborhood Association, an award of $2,500. For Whisper Creek HOA, an award of $1,200. For Aviana Homeowners Association, Inc., an award of $3,000. For Smoke Ranch Villas HOA, an award of $3,000. For Crossroads 3 HOA, an award of $2,000. For Mariposa Community Association, an award of $2,000. For Glen Heather Estates Neighborhood Association, an award of $2,000. For Charleston Village Homes HOA, an award of $2,000. For Desert Shores Community Association, an award of $1,500. For Hunt Ridge Neighborhood Association, an award of $1,800. For the Cultural Corridor Coalition, an award of $2,000. For Four Winds Homeowners Association, an award of $1,200. For Durango Estates, an award of $2,200. For Canyon Mist Estates HOA, an award of $1,900. For Aventura Homeowners Association, Inc., an award of $1,600. For Tuscany Hills North Homeowners Association, an award of $1,900. For La Mancha Summerlin Property Owners, an award of $1,100. And in the total amount of $55,000.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good job, everybody.
I'll finish doing that, but
We'll have more on the agenda.
Discussion for possible action regarding the amended Neighborhood Partners Fund Board bylaws.
Oh, geez. I didn't get to bring those with me.
Did you bring your bylaws?
No.
Okay, hold on.
I'll go ahead. Maria, as the NPF coordinator, has brought to the attention of the board that these bylaws were approved at the initiation of the NPF board. At this time, proposed changes were made to the bylaws to update the bylaws and also to get some clarification on approval of the minutes. I don't really find any of the changes to be substantive. In addition, in order to amend the bylaws, it requires the approval of the board. Maria, on June 1st, contacted all board members and gave 20 days' notice as required by the current bylaws. Staff is simply asking that you approve the bylaws. Any questions?
May I just have one more thing? The only one that gave any comments was Larry Schultz. And they were just, probably, I don't know if you remember in handwritten ones I gave it to you. We can live without, what she said, the information that has already been included takes care of everything. So it's up to you if you don't remember that to make, but they were,
Yeah, Terry Ponticello, Assistant City Attorney. What Larry Schultz had recommended was something regarding the purpose of the NPF board relating back to its charter. Unfortunately, our records show that there was no charter. It was a creation by the city council. And Mr. Schultz also wanted to be able to have, call a special meeting by I think by 5 members of the board. In all honesty, frankly, I don't see a necessity for that. If you wanted to have a meeting, I think the board members could simply contact Maria and Maria will schedule a meeting. Right now, this is a board that only meets once a year, 3 to 4 times a year max. I don't believe there's another necessity for having a board meeting any other time of the year.
Member Toussaint at large. I haven't seen Larry's suggestions. My suggestion would be that, personally, I would reviewed the bylaws and had no trouble with them at all, and I would vote in favor. I would like to suggest that we do approve what has been proposed, and if Mary has suggestions for next year, that we put those in writing so that we could have those considered next regular meeting.
I have reiterated what Mr. Schultz suggested. I didn't find them to be material changes or necessary changes for that matter.
I don't either. At this point, I haven't read it, so.
Yeah.
I did read them, and I thought even before we had the presentation from our city attorney that it did make a lot of sense. There's really no structure or need. We meet and discuss this grant once we receive the money we need. Once the money's spent, there's really no need for the board to call, so.
No larger role.
Exactly, so I appreciated his care of going through it, but I don't think there's a need for a special. And all of the other, the small changes that were made were all, seemed to be pretty much housekeeping items that I didn't have any concerns with.
Brian Kingston, Ward 1, I would make a motion to approve the amended.
If I may, Chair, there's just one more item I want to bring up about the amended bylaws, and that is to bring it current with state law. Legislation was passed last year regarding minutes of boards, and that they must be approved within 45 days or the next reoccurring meeting. I mean, so unfortunately, at the rate that minutes are recorded by the city clerk's office, and for this particular type of board that only meets once a year, the board will not see the minutes of the meeting until the following year when you meet. And so I just wanted to think that was perhaps the biggest substantive change to the bylaws.
I would make a motion for approval of the
Okay.
bylaws, the amended bylaws as submitted by Maria in the last two meetings.
I second that.
Okay. Are we all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next item. Discussion for possible action or recommendations to amend the application process or documents used for the annual Neighborhood Partners Fund program cycle.
So if I may, this is Maria Christine Couch. What I'd like to do, propose for next year, I will ask Zoom Grant to modify this document so that we can use it next year, continue using it. It's easier for us to do that. I think you enjoyed it, having the average recommendation there to give you a heads up of how everybody else felt. So I could not get him to do it this time, but they offered me other things which I didn't think were going to be as clear. So that's why I used the other document. So what I'm seeing from today is that I'm skipping this then. I still would do the description and everything, but for the scoring, I don't have to come up with a new sheet or anything. We'll just use Zoom Grants then and just modify. You seem to be okay with this. I was concerned about all of the information and thought it
We
would
can do it.
create more havoc and then assist you. So you seem to be happy with that. Is there anything else about the process that you would like for me to change that I may or may not be able to? But yes.
Can I make a recommendation that, and I don't know how we can put this, that if items are already fully funded in a budget, that they should not be presented to this board for a grant?
Well, if I may, I have no clue if they're fully funded or not, because whatever they put here, if they're being honest to tell us, some may be honest and some may not. So what you're seeing are the ones that are, you may know, like, so if I'm able to, if that's one of the requirements now for this, MPF, then we're gonna have to talk about it, because here's what's been happening initially with the Neighborhood Partners Fund, is that we have a lot of the little neighborhoods downtown, and some of the older neighborhoods are not HOAs, and then we have HOAs. And so you have a different group, and you have different parts of the neighborhood, and so this grant was universal, it was for the whole city, and so for many years, we were not able to get wards like Ward 2, Ward 4. We then got a lot of promotion from Ward 6, and so it took a lot to get these areas to commit and to participate. And this is the first year through all this publicity that we've been able to attract so many people. And so I don't know if there might be a way to kind of talk with a few of you and just come up with some other ideas about how we could get, for you to feel more comfortable about the funding.